Now, the last 4 months of every calendar year end with the letters identified as Ember. Now, surprisingly, this month triggers spate of criminal and religious activities that are either individually or publicly motivated. Ember months are usually late reminders of unachieved dreams and usually reawaken a dormant soul with the urge to either quickly come to repentance or amass money for the end of year celebrations. It is this urge that makes many seek the evil way to make money quickly, turning to fraud, kidnap, internet scam, or other criminal activities. Now, to checkmate rising insecurity across the country and curtail the activities of kidnappers and bandits during the months leading to the Yuletide, the security agencies across the country often ramp up security measures. Now, security risk management and intelligence specialist Dr. Kabir Adamu joins us now to discuss security during the Ember months. Good to have you join us, Dr. Adamu.
Good afternoon. The pleasure is mine.
So, we see that we have listed some of the reasons this happened in our intro, but somehow I know that we do have insecurity through the year in one form or the other, but somehow once it's September, this seems to increase and people really don't understand why. Beyond just trying to make money for the Yuletide, what are other factors that sort of spur crime rates during this period?
So, unfortunately, I haven't seen any scientific study, any peer-reviewed article or report or survey that has given exact reasons for this rise in crime during the Ember months. But like you indicated in your report, anecdotal information suggests that it could be because of the desire for people to amass money ahead of the festivities. It could be because of increased movement between locations as people increase their business activities or travel from point A to point B in preparation for the Ember and the end of year festivities. But the reality is that there is definitely an increase in criminal activities during the Ember period.
Probably taking advantage of the distractions by the preparation for the Yuletide season. But we also know that these security agencies are beefing up security. For example, the Lagos State Commissioner asked police officers around the country to beef up security in the state. We've also seen the Nigerian Army also beefing up security. There were about 3 or 4 different exercises launched in 4 out of the 6 geopolitical zones. There is the Golden Dawn, the Enduring Peace, and the Stillwater. But crime in Nigeria now has metamorphosed into a different nomenclature. What should we do differently this year?
Now, it's good that the government security agencies have kind of anticipated this rise in crime and are doing all of those operations. But I think it's also very important that they increase the advocacy and awareness campaigns as well as other measures that they're doing. If you look at other parts of the world, when you go to the websites of some of these public security departments, you see checklist and other ways that you as an individual or corporate organization can increase your security posture. So I would strongly recommend that the several security departments that we have in the country also do that so that they can assist private individuals and other corporate bodies that are interested in increasing their security postures. Now that's for the government security departments. For us corporate individuals and all private homes and in our various capacities, we also need to do 3 things. First is to be aware. In security, we say being aware is the first thing that you should do. The second thing is once you are aware, you will anticipate. So for instance, if I'm aware that there are threats in Lagos, and what are these threats? They are mainly criminality. Now that means, for instance, if I'm moving from point A to point B, especially if I'm going through hotspots, then I will take additional measures. So that's the third point. If you're aware, you anticipate, then you do the third thing, which is to put mitigation measures in place. If I know I'm going to a location where kidnap for ransom is high, what are the mitigation measures for kidnap for ransom? So the time that would allow me in our interview, I would just recommend these 3 things. Threat, being aware of the threat, determining your exposure to the threat, which is what we call risk, And that is where the anticipation comes in. And then, of course, the third element is put in place mitigation measures. When the corporate organizations were targeted during NSAS, I think it's the failure of the second and the third component. We knew the threat. There was, protest, hooligans took over the protest, but that second element of anticipating that those hooligans could attack corporate organizations or putting in place mitigation measures, there was a failure in that regard. So these three things are what we can do as private individuals and corporate organizations.
And that's really important, because individually we also need to be aware, like you said, of these security threats and be prepared, or just be alert to them. But let's talk about how important police community relations will be at this time. The police and other security agencies would need information from communities and those who live within those communities as to what's happening in those areas, for suspicious movements and all. How should it improve relations at this time?
It's very important that the various platforms for community engagement. I mean, we've spoken extensively around community policing, and I know this particular administration has implemented certain aspects of community policing, including naming what they call constables, and then the police community, the community that involves certain members of the society. Now, all those are platforms for the police to engage with the public, and I think in this period, the police should revamp those platforms so that the generality of the public is aware that those platforms exist. I should be able to know which telephone number to call if I've got information to provide. I should have at the back of my head that I'm going to be protected, that my name is not going to be disclosed to the criminal when I provide that information. So all that is necessary if the public is going to respond to the say something mantra by the police. Again, I would also call on the public that we are the civic space. We are actually an aspect of policing. Every individual in Nigeria does have the capacity to police as provided by the Constitution. Even though we cannot prosecute, but we can arrest. And so let's not be deterred by the failures that are currently existing, because if we are deterred, the result would actually affect us. And so let's make an effort, find out the nearest police or the several other security departments that are within your neighborhood, and sometimes just going to them with a pack of pure water and familiarizing yourself with them. I'm not saying you should bribe them, but I think within our law, the pack of pure water is permitted. And so just getting to know them, understanding what they do, getting their phone numbers would definitely help you in times of distress. They already know you, you've been nice to them. If you call them, it's not a strange person calling them, and they will respond more speedily than if you don't do this before the distress happens.
And it's interesting you mentioned the phone numbers, very important. And I hope that, these security agents continue to put out this contact so people know who to call if there is a security breach. Thank you so much for talking to our security risk management and intelligence specialist, Dr. Kabir Adamu.
Thank you for having me.